You're a smart guy. You've done well for yourself. You've probably crushed it in your career, built a great life, maybe even working hard in your health, your mindset, your habits. So why is sex, the thing that should be easy and come naturally, not working? Why does this one part of your life make you feel so bad? Because no one really talks about what it's like when a guy who has it all together can't get it up. This video isn't a tutorial, it's a perspective shift. And if you're smart and you're successful, you might want to check this one out. Let's be blunt. If you're watching this, you're probably not some reckless kid binging porn and Red Bull. You're someone who's worked for everything you have, which is a lot. Which is why ED doesn't just feel like a body issue, it feels like an identity crisis. You're used to solving problems with your brain, analyzing it, planning it, fixing it. But your erection doesn't care how smart you are. And that mismatch can cut really deep. It can make you actually question your own masculinity, your attractiveness, your relationship with yourself. Because nobody told you that you could be successful in every part of your life and still be off in bed. For a lot of guys, the problem is that the tools that made them so successful in all those other areas of their life, those driving type A tools, don't work in the bedroom. And that's why it can be so frustrating and turn out to be such a trap. These type A, really successful guys will find the harder and harder they try to drive with those type A tools in the bedroom, the worse their ED gets. So the very thing that made them so successful in those other areas is making them a failure in the bedroom. And here's what makes it extra brutal for guys like you. You're great at hiding it. You know how to wear the masks, smile through it, avoid it, crack the joke, blame the alcohol, act like it's no big deal, even when it might be really upsetting inside. You're probably over-researching, reading forums, watching videos like this, checking hormones. You probably Googled psychological ED more than once. And all that input can keep you stuck in your head instead of really being able to be in your body. Maybe you've tied your worth to your performance. High achievers often do. So when your performance in bed takes a hit, it doesn't feel like a one-off. It feels like evidence that there's something wrong with you. And then comes the shame, that quiet, suffocating shame that says, if people really knew, they wouldn't respect me the same way, they wouldn't think of me the same way, and just all that kind of identity stuff. I once worked with a client who's an entrepreneur in his 40s, brilliant guy, really charming, fit, super successful. On paper, he had everything. But when he came to me, in his words, he said, I've got the houses, I've got the Porsches, I've made millions, but I can't get hard with my girlfriend most of the time. He wasn't anxious, he wasn't burned out, and his testosterone was fine. But he brought that driving type A personality into the bedroom with him so that every time he had sex, his mind would race and light up with, will it happen this time? Is she going to be disappointed? What's wrong with me? All that stuff. When I worked with him, we didn't start with techniques. We started by unpacking what ED meant to him in his identity, how he'd built it around being competent and dependable and unstoppable. And when sex didn't go as planned, that entire identity felt threatened. What helped him shift wasn't fixing anything. It was him working to redefine what it meant to be a man, not as a performer, but as a present partner. Let me offer something different here. What if psychological ED isn't a failure? What if it's feedback? What if it's your body saying, hey, something here isn't right, something here isn't safe? And instead of muscling through it, like you've probably done everywhere else in your life, the answer is actually slowing down, getting curious, reaching for some different tools and listening to your body, and starting to ask questions like, when did this first start? How did you relate to it when it first started? What was happening in your life then? what does sex feel like now, emotionally, not just physically? Are you bringing any of the same attitudes that have made you so successful in those other areas of your life into the bedroom? Would it be possible for you to consider looking beyond some of those attitudes, looking outside of some of those ways of looking at things? And maybe, most importantly, what would this look like if you were allowed to fail? Because the truth is, sometimes ED really isn't about sex. It's identity, control, vulnerability. And for high-achieving guys, those can be hard conversations to have, but they're the ones that can actually move the needle. I think as guys, we all get sold a lie that being good in bed means always ready, always hard, always dominant. And for guys who've internalized that, ED can feel like the ultimate failure. But real intimacy, real sex, doesn't look like that necessarily. Real sex is responsive, it's messy, it's imperfect. And when it works, it's because both people feel safe and connected, not because one person nailed the script. So if your current script is preventing you from performing as well as you'd like, from really enjoying sex, maybe it's time to write a new one. One that includes room for emotion, slowness, connection, asking for what you want, not just what you think you're supposed to deliver. If any of this hit a nerve, that's not a bad thing. That's your nervous system feeling something, which ironically is the opposite of the numbness that ED can bring for some guys. So you're not a failure. You're definitely not alone. You're not doomed. You're just dealing with a complex human challenge. And there are real paths forward for you. Sex therapy, nervous system retraining, language rewiring, hypnotherapy, relationship shifts, reframing your thinking work you can do. I've helped guys do all that and more for over 20 years. If you're ever ready to talk to someone who's been in the trenches with this, just give me a call or drop me a note. So if this conversation landed for you, even a little, you've got a couple choices. You could click away, maybe forget about it, maybe do some more research. Fair enough. Or you could pause, reflect, and decide to try something different. Maybe really thinking about some of those questions I mentioned. Maybe really thinking about some other ways you could explore, finding some new tools to add to the toolbox. And if you want a next step that's practical, low pressure, and grounded in what actually helps, watch the video I've linked right here. It's not a pep talk or a pill pusher. It's a system for getting out of your head and back into your body and reclaiming a sex life that you actually want. And no matter where you decide to go next, I hope you're moving in the direction of a really healthy, happy, fun sex life again. Thanks for watching.